Federal government and governors disagreed over lockdown. The federal government is not disposed to the call by state governors for the relaxation of the current lockdown in the country on account of the COVID-19 pandemic. The nation gathered last night. The federal authorities, sources said, are much in favor of partial restriction in 33 of the 36 states with a view to mitigating the effects of the current lockdown in many parts of the country as against the relaxation being sought by the governors. Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State and Sheyi Makinde have already relaxed the restrictions in their states. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, which President Muhammad Buhari relies on principally for advice on the pandemic, is not in agreement with the governors that government should soft pedal in the FCT, Lagos, Ogun, and Kano states. Buhari, who is billed to address the nation tomorrow, is said to be weighing the option before him. Members of the PTF were locked in a marathon meeting yesterday on the format of the partial restrictions to put in place in 33 states without fueling the spread of the COVID-19. The task force considered the status report on COVID-19 spread in each state of the federation, the input of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF), and local and international technical evaluation of the pandemic in the country. A top-level source said, "We are inching toward partial restrictions in some states and the Federal Capital Territory. There is clamor for the partial lifting of the lockdown. This is why the PTF is meeting." The PTF has received many suggestions, but we are being careful not to reverse the gains of the last few weeks in the battle against COVID-19. One of the knotty issues is a recommendation by the NGF that there should be internal free movement, but with restriction on large gatherings and assemblies nationwide. But the PTF took exception to the partial lifting of the lockdown in the FCT, Lagos, Ogun, and Kano states. When contacted, a member of the NGF said the forum was on the same page with the PTF on the input of the governors except for one recommendation. The source said, "I don't think the PTF on COVID-19 have serious objection except with internal free movement, where they believe that we should not relax the lockdown in the epicenters of Lagos, Kano, FCT, and Ogun. They might be right. We have done our bit by presenting our input. You can contact the chairman of PTF on COVID-19, Mr. Boss Mustafa, for details." The NGF, in Friday letter to the secretary to the government of the federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, said, "Please refer to the above subject matter and to our teleconference meeting with the Vice President on Wednesday, 22nd April 2020. Recall at that meeting, it was agreed that the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) articulates the issues that it would want to be included in the next presidential pronouncement on COVID-19 so as to have a uniform and coordinated policy on COVID-19 at both the national and the subnational levels. Subject to Mr. President's approval, the NGF would want the following incorporated into Mr. President's pronouncement: interstate lockdown, including movement of essential supplies, food, beverages, medical and pharmaceutical, petroleum supplies, and agricultural products. Internal free movement, but with restrictions on large gatherings and assemblies. Overnight curfews, lockdown of flights, and compulsory use of face mask coverings in the public. Another top source said last night that the NGF's letter was inexplicit on what qualifies as internal movement. The source said, we may end up with tough advisory on partial restrictions. We cannot allow the governors to reopen schools. There will be no wedding, funeral outings. Churches and mosques cannot operate, and we will only allow access to markets in neighborhoods. Don't forget that the federal government and the PTF only locked down the FCT, Lagos and Ogun State. We did not lock down the remaining 34 states, but we cannot close our eyes when COVID-19 infections get out of control in any state. This is why we believe the governors must be cautious in putting in place partial restrictions. We should avoid creating a situation where the pandemic will get out of control in any state. For instance, Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State did not consult with the PTF or Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) before directing that churches should resume normal activities. No technical or empirical basis for his decision. Does the state have the wherewithal to manage the consequences of exposing its citizens to COVID-19 spread? Responding to a question, the source added, the PTF members will still meet on Sunday. We may come up with tough advisory if there will be internal movement in any state as part of the conditions of partial restrictions. Thank you for listening to this news. Wow, this is serious. Some states are already calling off lockdown while some are still agitating. Why is this still on, if I may ask? Why is it still on? To me, I would say that there is nothing bad if the government still decide to relax the lockdown, because men looking at it, I want to believe that the situation is a little bit down compared to when it first started. Yes, they might be coming up with some idea of an increased cases, but I want to tell us this as Nigerians, that some of these increased cases are truly not COVID-19 cases. Some of them are actually ordinary sickness like malaria and all of that, but then they will detect it to be COVID-19, which is not true. If you look at it, and some of the deaths that we experience in Nigeria today, most of them doesn't come through COVID-19. Some of them come through hunger and the normal malaria symptoms and all of that. This is so bad if the government cannot lift or relax this lockdown. Why keeping people indoor? Hunger has turned to what? Has turned to virus as well. For the president to provide palliatives for the already locked people is a problem. Now, they are finding it difficult to relax the lockdown. Since other states are already relaxing theirs, what's stopping others to do the same? Believe you me, I will say that the Nigerian government are not becoming fair enough to the citizens. Is it because they have enough to them keep them within this period of difficulty, or is it because they have enough stocked in their packing store in terms of foodstuffs to keep them going within this period? What about the masses? What about the people? The people, the masses, the common Nigerians, the ones that actually completed for them to be where they are today. These people are not put in considerations. They are not even bothered about their existence. is very much bad of the Nigerian government, I must say. So, my viewers, without talking much, I would like to create room for you to come in so that your own opinion and your idea will help to bring a lift or help the government to see reason why they should relax this lockdown. So please, your comment concerning this news are of great importance. Don't forget to leave them behind.